In this time of New Year's resolutions, Dr. Ashley Stevens has an alternate approach you may consider for your family, which involves asking for more, please. Okay, I'm really curious about this. What is it and how does it work?
So I saw this in all of the, in your algorithm. You get all of the New Year's, and everybody is going to be like so disciplined, and they've added 18 things to their daily routine, and they are 10 days from a burnout where they don't do any of those things, and we're all back to normal. But this approach was a little bit softer, and so instead of, how I do my day today is going to be very different than how I do my day tomorrow, this one just looks back at the last year to say what worked well and what things would we want to say more, please, to. So you're doing something that you've already done, that you enjoyed, theoretically, because you're choosing to do more of it. So we know you can approach it. We know it's something that you can pull off. And intentionally, you're building in more of the good into the new year. So I thought this was kind of getting at the good of all the New Year's resolutions without maybe some of the heavy restrictions and, likelihood of things going a little bit crooked, a week or so from now.
Yeah. So it's not like more please, more toys, or more tech gadgets. It's like more time or activities or experiences, it sounds like.
So when we do New Year's resolutions, I think oftentimes we get blind to where we've been and we're just looking ahead. Like, what are we, who am I going to be tomorrow? Who am I going to be in January? Who am I going to be this year? But this asks us to say, like, okay, last year there were some things that we probably want to improve on, but there were some things that went really well. Did you enjoy, having a phone call with your grandma? Did you enjoy dinner with a friend? Did you enjoy board games with your family? Were there things that were working? Did you start a new hobby or spend time in one that you loved? What went well? And how do you structure your schedule, because if you don't build time for it, it won't live in there. So how do you mark off time so that you can have more of those things that are going well?
And how do you think that this could help families? It could really benefit them, especially if they have a child in school.
Absolutely. So it allows us to see what went well. So they're having to talk about reflection, and they're having to look at kind of, how do we praise some of the things that have happened? And it also builds gratitude, because we're looking at things that were good, and we know that our minds go for what we look for. So if we're pessimistic and everything's always terrible, that's what our brains are going to look for. So the opposite is true. And so I think by including kids in there, you're able to hear their perspective of what went well. Did you pick up a new study habit? Were you able to make a different friend or participate in a different activity? What are those types of things? So it is very much of including your kids in the process, so that they can identify what is good, and then you can teach them really the skill of making sure that there's room or there's intention to add more of that.
Sounds like there are lots of opportunities to kind of build more of in this situation. And get some conversations going. Why do you think a softer approach to a new year and an idea like this could also really help families?
You are setting yourself up for success because you're doing something that you've done before, something that you've enjoyed. And so, sometimes my New Year's resolutions might look like things that I didn't like last year, and I'm not going to like them anymore this year. But with these, we know that they were positive. And so you're more likely to want to chase after them. And we know you can do it. You know that you loved taking a walk after work because you identified that was a good thing. So it builds that success, which builds momentum, which builds kind of faith in ourselves that we can enact change, and we can be responsible for adding more of these good things.
It sounds like a good way to start the new year and really encourage the kids in our lives too.
Absolutely. I think we do our kids a disservice when we don't include them in, some long-term planning, not just here's what we're going to cover this week, or here are our chores for today, but help them dream, help them plan, and teach them the skills to craft their schedule.
Yeah, because they always feel like they're being told what to do instead of, okay, help us think of some things we liked from last year. And add on to that.
Absolutely. That autonomy is a huge deal for them, especially as they get older. If you want them to care about those things you're adding, you need to make sure that you've asked them, what those look like.
Yeah, a great idea. Something simple to do. Dr. Stevens, thanks so much for stopping by and sharing it with us.
Thank you for having me.